It's not my job to tell the true story of Prince Charles. That's not what we're doing at all.
The Crown can't ever be factually perfect, but it sure is an emotional roller coaster, especially for the actors involved. While we hope they will do Season 5 justice, today we are reflecting on the moments that they struggled the most to film. Number 1. Sometimes beginning is the hardest part.
I'm Imelda Staunton, and I'm currently on the set of The Crown.
While Season 5 was just in its beginning stages, Imelda was feeling just a bit intimidated by the talent that came before her.
I'm delighted to be here, inheriting the role of Queen Elizabeth from two outstanding actresses.
But taking on a role of such grandeur, with so much love behind its stars, Imelda was feeling like it was all too much. Even while shooting the promo vid, just wait until she gets deeper into the story.
Hopefully, I look calm, collected, and capable. My stomach, meanwhile, is doing somersaults.
Who are you referring to?
Camilla.
Why would I care about her?
Because I care about her!
Number 2. And sometimes, endings are the hardest part. Emma and Josh really struggled with an argument in the last episode. The scene was the first time they lost their temper with each other, which signified the end of their relationship. She shared, "It was just so difficult to get to that place after becoming so close on set, Josh and I. Especially because the two of them had never explored that dynamic between the characters before. But Josh admitted, when they are angry and hating each other, as soon as they call cut, we're laughing and playing games."
When the Prince of Wales told me he was going away for 6 weeks and not taking you, I said, that's not very nice.
Number 3. The object of conflict being present in the room changes the atmosphere.
I wanted just to play around a little bit before we actually came to shoot the scene.
One way to get your actors duking it out over a man is to put that man in rehearsal. Suddenly, the stakes are through the roof, especially when that man is Prince Charles.
I had him sitting in the middle of the table between both Emma and Emerald.
He gave a very interesting direction to them both.
Only one of you can put your hand on his.
Emerald got there first with her hand, and it made it super uncomfortable for Emma.
Even though we weren't explicitly doing it, we were battling it out over him.
Number 4. Next to the heart is the breath. Emma Corrin was struggling breathing.
Because it was like my first week, I obviously didn't want to make a big thing out of anything.
Her breathing got so intense, but they were in the middle of shooting a scene.
So I just remember feeling like, oh my God, I can't breathe. But then they were still rolling.
Luckily, prioritizing her health won out in the end.
And then eventually I had to be like, please someone help me.
Number 5. Eating disorders are no joke, and Emma was adamant she would get it right. Emma Corrin definitely did her research on Princess Diana. She asked if they could expand the script to make sure the situations weren't isolated with no context. From all her research and talking with people who'd experienced it, she said, "It is all-consuming. It is something that your day ends up revolving around, and it obviously has a huge strain on you, mentally and emotionally." I felt that in order to do the whole of her story justice, I had to include that. I felt a lot for Diana.
This wedding can't go ahead. It would be a disaster for everyone.
Number 6. Hide and seek is an effective acting challenge.
We don't film things chronologically.
Asthma wasn't the only thing working on Emma's physical state. Turns out a lost phone can do a lot to get someone into character.
He hid the phone, so in the room, there are like 3 rooms, I filled with flowers and everything else.
The director did this every take. This just launched Emma into the urgency that was necessary for the character. Number 7. That feel when you have to be cruel and all you want is to spread love and hugs. Josh O'Connor was so intense as Prince Charles that he scared Emma. He admitted to feeling just downright awful about the situation, saying, "I tend to keep myself to myself, especially on days when it's that kind of emotional scene." He admitted that the entire time he had to scream in her face, all he wanted to do was give her a hug and say, "I'm so sorry." Number 8. Destroying something beautiful proved to be the wrong choice.
How dare these people send us flowers? They have no idea what's going on.
Emma Corrin got so intense playing Princess Diana, she whipped the flowers around the room in a frenzy.
I just threw these flowers everywhere and destroyed effectively the whole room.
Unfortunately, the catharsis was too much.
I think she wouldn't let go that much.
Even away from the public eye, there's still the sense she can't just openly express herself, and it's all the more heartbreaking. Number 9. The only time not listening is a good choice. In order to hide her intense emotions, a lot of scenes had to be filmed from the back of Olivia Colman's head. But when she was being filmed from the front, the poor woman couldn't contain her tears upon hearing the sad things, so she needed a distraction. They actually decided to put an earpiece in her.
So I just have to try and tune into the shipping forecast.
Number 10. You'd think you'd find energy in nearly completing a project, but no. Filming the final scene of Season 2, Matt Smith and Claire Foy were nearing the end of their time in Scotland, and were beaten down. Smith said, "Filming wasn't great, actually. I really found it difficult. By that point, we were so entrenched in making the show, we were just tired. It just felt like, on the day, we were not landing it. And it's complicated, you know? There's a lot set up in there." And whether or not Prince Phillip was faithful, Smith had to choose for his character. He made the dramatic choice, and with one look, Foy sparked panic in Smith. Number 11. Choosing to include this tragedy at all was a daring move by the creative team, but they felt to honor the story, it had to be included. It came with a lot of research and the opening of old wounds. Some of the extras who were invited onto the set of the Aberfan Tragedy were there to witness it. The producer said, "We had a therapist to help all the people who were recreating such a horrific scene. People who live there are still traumatized, of course, and we found they'd never been offered help before. Now we are trying to arrange more." Helena Bonham Carter said of Olivia, "She's about the most empathetic individual I know. Lakes of tears inside her. She can't not cry. So she couldn't listen to me making the speech without crying. And the whole point is that she's playing the queen who finds it difficult to express emotion." Number 12. Goodbyes are never easy. Vanessa Kirby's last day on set had her weeping. Her last scene was on the Buckingham Palace set, and it was of her and Claire having lunch. It was intense to say goodbye to such a character, but what made it better, or worse maybe, was the second cut was called "Everyone Pulled Out Disco Lights and Champagne." Music started playing. She just bawled more, in typical Margaret fashion. Vanessa was sobbing, and Claire was holding it together completely. The same it's always been between the two of them. Vanessa said, "There's a picture of us, and I've got a completely swollen face from crying, and she just looks completely fine." Number 13. We've all had nights like this. Something that helped Vanessa Kirby understand Margaret was imagining that she had dark nights of the soul, that she has a darkness to her, with something dangerous lurking just underneath. Vanessa Kirby said, "Peter had just written that she does a melancholy dance. But I was like, Margaret doesn't do just melancholy." Further admitting, I just tried to access her pain, really. Number 14. Burn the suit. Playing the Queen Mother in the show really did a number on Victoria Hamilton's self-esteem in Season 1, to the point that she almost burned the bodysuit she had to wear every day on set. Every part of it made her more and more miserable. She'd said, "Every day I had to climb into that and leave the truck with a large cup of coffee, walking like a farmer."
Oh, why is that?
They become too emotional.
I doubt you'll have that trouble with me.
Number 15. Strong writing leads to great performances, but can also just be so daunting. Gillian was feeling incredibly nervous to film the scenes where Margaret Thatcher and Queen Elizabeth II get into a heated fight over apartheid. Gillian said, "Those were the scenes I was most looking forward to, and most dreading at the same time.